Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel UPSC Study Circle. Well, in this video I am going to explain Article 19. Well, Article 19 is very important in the UPSC prelims as well as mains and state examinations also. So, previously we have discussed Article 14 to 18. Article 14 is about equality and Article 15 is about prohibition of discrimination. Article 16 about equal opportunity to the public employment, and Article 17 is about untouchability, abolition of untouchability, and Article 18 is about abolition of titles. So in this video, Article 19 is the six freedoms of Indian citizen. It is a for every Indian citizens have a six fundamental rights, six freedoms compulsory. So coming to the topic, Article 19 is guarantees the six fundamental freedoms to all Indian citizens. These freedoms form of uh, cornerstone of democracy and are essential to the personal liberty and dignity. Well, this line is very important, guys. Please note it down. Article 19 guarantees the six fundamental rights, freedoms to all citizens of India, and these freedoms form the cornerstone of democracy and essential to the personal liberty and dignity. Well, this is a simple definition of Article 19 is the six fundamental rights. These six fundamental rights are related to the personal liberty and dignity. So, text of Article 19 is what are the six fundamental rights? Here we go. So, protection of certain rights regarding to the freedom of speech and expression. So, in the Article 19, Clause 1, in that Clause 1A is all citizens shall have the right of freedom of speech and expression and freedom to assemble the peaceably. Freedom to assemble the peaceably means he can visit any church or any masjid or any temple or as his wish. It is an individual opinion. He can, and freedom to form of associations or unions. Well, in the Indian territory, you can form a association like for example auto union or car union or labor union. You can form any association without any permission, and freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India. Well, you can move freely all over the India without any permission or without any permit. If you have a Indian citizen, you can move freely entire the Indian territory. Nobody can stop you. And article and E is freedom to reside or settle in any part of the territory of India. Well, you can be anywhere in the Indian territory. You can settle anywhere. Like you can, if your birthplace is Hyderabad, you can settle in Delhi or Bangalore or Mumbai or Karnataka or West Bengal. In anywhere you can settle. Nobody can stop you. And the last one is freedom to practice any profession, to carry on any occupation, trade or business. Well, this is a completely fundamental right, freedom to carry any profession. Like you can choose your own profession like teacher, doctor, engineer or etc. Anything which are constitutional, uh, you can owe the profession, or you can do the trade or business also, which are legally. And six freedoms of Indian citizens, and this is the brief explanation. So ensure the fundamental freedoms to all citizens but subject to reasonable restriction in the interest of state. For example, best example is in the corona time, one day curfew happened, not one day, almost 6 months curfew happened. At that time, at that time government took the decision of nobody can come out, like that. That decision passed at that time. See, like you cannot move anywhere. So that is the definition of this line: ensure the fundamental freedoms to all citizens, but subject to reasonable restriction in the interest of state, like security problems if happens, or public order, or decency, or etc. And one more thing, essential for individual liberty, dignity, and democracy. Well, these six freedoms for improve the individual dignity, liberty, and democracy, and accessible to only to the citizens of India, not foreigners or armed forces, etc. So these six fundamental rights are applicable to only the citizens of India, not like foreigners and armed forces, like this. And one more thing, freedoms are not absolute, can be restricted on the reasonable grounds. Well, this is a very, very important point, guys. When the state emergency or national emergency, then that time these six fundamental rights or can be restricted. This is a very, very important point. Freedoms are not absolute, can be restricted on the reasonable grounds. Those reasonable grounds are state emergency or national emergency. Then that time, free, six fundamental rights can be restricted. Please note it down this line. And these are the six fundamental rights of the image. You can see right to freedom of speech and expression. In the India, you can share your opinion, or you can tell your speech to anyone. Right to freedom of speech and expression, right to express one thought freely through the speech, writing, or printing, etc. uh, that's why in India, the what we call the news channels can write anything on their own. That is the right to freedom of speech and expression. And one more thing, right to freedom to form a association. As I told you, like for example, auto union or labor union, right to assemble without arms for peaceful protest or meetings. You can form a association. And one more thing, right to freedom of movement. Well, the right to freedom of movement, like you can move entire the India, right to move freely in any part of the India. That's the point of right to freedom of movement. And right to freedom of residence. Well, you can be anywhere in the Indian territory, you can settle anywhere. Like if your birthplace is Hyderabad, you can settle in Mumbai or Bangalore or in any part of the India, right to move freely throughout the Indian territory. And right to freedom of settle in any part of India, as I told you, like right to reside or settle in any part of India. Well, this one is right to freedom of residence, means right to move freely. And one more thing, right to freedom of profession. Yeah, this is a correct line. Right to practice any profession or to carry any occupation on their own. And one line is missed, that is right to reside or settle, and practice or profession, and right to freely move, association, assemble, freedom to assemble peacefully. Yeah, everything is covered. And important case laws are related to Article 19. Well, these two cases are very, very important. In 1950, one case is happened. Ramesh Tappar versus State of Madras declared freedom of press as a part of the freedom of speech and expression in the mediate of national security is reasonable restriction. Well, this is very, 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 very important case, Ramesh Tappar versus State of Madras in 1950. This case is happened, and one more case is happened like 1976, expanded to the scope of personal freedom. Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India. Yeah, this is very very important. In 1976, this case is happened. Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India expanded the scope of personal freedom, like freedom of speech and expression, like dignity, which is related to this case, freedom of personal liberty and dignity. So this is the overall of six fundamental rights, article 19, six freedoms of Indian citizens. So that's all for the day. This is very very important article, guys. Please note it down and please subscribe. Happy learning. Thank you so much.